discussions. When we had those, I mean, Suncast uses approximately 60 million, 61 million kilowatt hours a year. Our largest customer, frankly. I mean, they would have a big impact on every other customer in town, both residential and commercial, if Suncast were to leave. So kind of in that context, we sat down to craft an incentive agreement. And the framework of this incentive agreement follows basically the legal framework that we used for the master services agreement that we have with Rubicon. A couple of the big highlights are that for new growth, basically anything over that 61 million, Suncast will now be able to achieve or obtain market-based rates. So basically obtain wholesale cost, if you will, for power as opposed to a retail cost. That's for any additional power over what they use today. And then for what they use today, and again as an incentive to keep them, they will be receiving also incentive payments up to really a 50 million kilowatt hour level. So basically over the course of this agreement, if they hit at least 50 million kilowatt hours every year, the grand total of the incentive is about $7.5 million. Now that money is actually flowing out through the general fund. The general fund was lucky enough to receive transportation funds. So the transportation funds, through the form of a grant, can then be used, and we're able to utilize general funds for this incentive. In addition, the utility itself is also funding like construction improvements and past incentives. Suncast already qualified previously for some of our incentive programs, so that's incorporated into here. We also have incorporated into here restrictions on their capacity on their service lines, and then knowing in the future that if they choose to expand again, that's an issue we'll all have to come back to the table on. This expansion will now maximize our 12 kV system, the system that we service Suncast with. 12 kV is the same system we service the general distribution to the whole community. We have a higher voltage system, the 34 kV, which basically connects our substations and some of our larger industrial customers. I just told you Suncast is our largest. So they're though on the 12 kV system, and at some point in time in the future, if they do choose to expand, we'll have to get them onto the 34 kV system for that additional work, because we're frankly out of room now on the 12 up in their part of town. I think I've covered the highlights. If someone has questions, I can certainly answer those. But I think I went through, and if I missed something, please ask, and I can go through it. I've been involved in this for months now, so.
There was a concern that we would be doing these incentives. Is there a guarantee that they won't leave at a future date or something to that effect? I mean, I guess it's there. I just heard that remark out there. I know the attorney for Suncast is here, but this is a long-term incentive package, correct? So
right, there's a long-term incentive package, and it pertains to their facility at 701 North Kirk Road. So presumably, if they're no longer at that facility, then the agreement,
the incentives would be gone.
Right. So the two are tied together, and from that perspective.
Any discussion, questions for staff?
Well, I'd like to say that I'd like to recognize staff and the Suncast folks for coming up with a solution in a very difficult situation. Perhaps there's really no perfect solution, but it was a good solution. You worked really hard, and we're able to keep our biggest utility user and an employer of 1,200 people in Batavia. And I think that's great. Thank you.
All right. I will make a motion to approve Resolution 1405R.
Second. Moved by Alderman Clark, second by Alderman O'Brien for the approval of Resolution 14-05-R. Any discussion? I'd just like to add that while we're thanking people, the one I think we also need to thank is the state of Illinois for their willingness to come in with this grant program for the city of Batavia, which allows us to do this really at no cost to the Batavia folks as far as where that money's coming from. So the state of Illinois really did step up here and aided us, and I just want to acknowledge that. Anybody else? Clerk, call the roll.
Clark.
Aye.
Atack.
Aye.
Stark.
Aye.
Transit.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Sparks.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Homan.
Aye.
Sam.
Aye.
Vasilian.
Aye.
Sarone.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye.
Brown.
Thank you, Gary.
Resolution 14-05-R is approved, 14 yes, no nos, none absent. Okay, moving to item number 10, which is Resolution 14-66-R, authorizing contract for the 2014 Drainage Program Design Build for the Stream Bank Stabilization of Mahoney Creek and the conversion of the Normandy Subdivision Detention Basin into native plantings with Front Range environmental provisions. Any discussion? I'm sorry. Alderman Wolf, you have this?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is something we've been talking about for a couple of years, working on Mahoney Creek over in, I believe it's all in the First Ward. The shoreline is severely eroded along Mahoney Creek in several different sections, and this project is broken up in a couple different alternatives, and we're trying to do some of this with a grant, some of it out of the drainage budget for this year, and it is really something I think is important to try to get this stabilized now before it gets much worse. And I guess with that, I'll make the motion that we approve resolution 1466-R, authorizing execution of the contract for the 2014 drainage program with Front Range Environmental for the Mahoney Creek work.
Moved by Alderman Wolf, second by Alderman O'Brien for the approval of Resolution 14-66-R. Any further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Wolf.
Aye.
Sparks.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Homan.
Aye.
Sam.
Aye.
Vasilian.
Aye.
Sarone.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye.
Brown. Clark. Atack.
Aye.
Stark. Transit.
Aye.
Resolution 14-66-R is approved, 14 yes, no nos, none absent. Moving to item number 11, the administrator's report. Mr. McGrath, you're on.
I was talking with Mr. Anderson, Suncast attorney, because Alderman Callahan had brought something to my attention, and that is a request that we work with Suncast to see if we can make sure that any new jobs created due to their expansion, and something that wasn't mentioned tonight is that they're, in terms of keeping them here for a long time, because of this agreement, they're putting many millions of dollars of capital improvements into this building, so it would make it much more difficult for them to consider moving in the future. But I talked to him tonight. We'll be talking with Suncast tomorrow and see what we can do to make sure that there's at least some kind of prioritization, or certainly some significant look given to Batavians for jobs at that facility. Steve Anderson, though, also wanted me to reminded me and asked me to remind you, is that not only is it this 1,200 jobs that are there, but the Suncast spends approximately $12 million in the rough general Tri-City area on collateral contracts as part of their operation. So there are significant numbers of Batavians and people in the valley who benefit from this company besides direct employees. So I just wanted to let you know that, and I'll get back to you on whatever they can do in terms of concreteness. I think you've seen they're finishing the Wilson landscaping. I think we told you we'd had some problems with the hanging baskets. I believe those are going to be, if they're not up already, they will be up by this week, and I believe is what the plan is. The skateboard deterrents should be installed in a few weeks. We received a bid today to complete Storehenge. We're reviewing that. We'll get right back to you with a time frame and the money about that. We received, and will be coming to committee, we received a request by the Park District for the council to consider conveying the trolley that we own to it. As you know, we own a trolley that was donated to us by Phil Elfstrom, and we've had some problems with it over the years. We don't have the kind of use for it that the Park District would have, and so for us, it's been very difficult to prioritize or to put a lot of money into it. The Park District has some personnel who would like to work on it, and the Park District put some money into it, and I think they want to make it an active part of their programming, so we'll be bringing that to committee, and it would remain in the benefiting the community. And we've had some conversations with the owners of the range, formerly known as the Open Range at the corner of Water in Houston. I think within the next 2 or 3 weeks, you should see some paperwork in terms of some kind of a TIF support or based on some projects and expansion they want to do. They want to add a nice patio on the front of the restaurant. So that's all I have for tonight, except for I thought at some point you might want to have a discussion about whether you wanted to continue to meet tomorrow evening for the J-Cow, because I looked at that agenda today, talked with the rest of the staff. They certainly can't add anything formal to it, but had nothing informal, and I note what's on there is a couple of these small annexations that we've been doing through community development, and we had a closed session scheduled, which we have no need for, and there's really nothing pressing. I think that's probably up to the committee if they want to go ahead and do that. There's a discussion on the fire department lifting folks at some of the nursing homes, which doesn't require any immediate action. And then there's a surplus property item. So frankly, it looks like a pretty bare bones agenda, but that's the last thing I thought you might want to take a look at.
Any questions of Mr. McGrath?
I would just like to thank you for checking into that with Suncast's attorney, and I'd like to thank Yvonne for bringing that to my attention, as well as others. We're concerned about some of the tangible benefits as it relates to this agreement.
No problem.
As long as we're talking about the Wilson Street landscaping, I want to make sure that we've got, I think we've talked about this several times, but I want to make sure we've got on order the mounts for the American flags for the downtown light poles. We're missing a bunch of them now. Last week on Memorial Day, we were only able to put flags on the East Wilson Street Bridge, or what hill? Yeah, but we can buy them and put around there, I believe.
You want to strap on those poles?
Right, right. That's what we talked about at one time here a while back. I want to make sure we get those done, because being the home of the founder of Flag Day, we're kind of, I think, it's kind of in our face here that we display the American flag, and I get a lot of people commenting about that, so I want to make sure we get the flags back up in the downtown. Anybody else? Thank you, Bill.
I guess, I always have something else. I guess I wanted people to take a special mention because I appreciate the work that Harris Bank did with us. If you recall, they actually gave up one of their driveways so that we could have a friendlier pedestrian way, and we paid for landscaping and to put in a landscaping bed, but the landscapers did a really nice job, and I think it's really beautiful, and it's changed that entire part of Wilson Street in terms of people walking down the street or bicycling on the sidewalk if they're little kids. And I just wanted to appreciate Harris Bank. It's going to take some significant maintenance in the future, which is going to be their obligation as soon as our landscaper is done with the initial, watering and everything to make sure that it takes hold. But it's certainly kind of something for them to take on as opposed to some of the other more, shall I say, simplistic landscaping that you see around some of the other companies. So I just want to appreciate them. So, thanks.
Committee reports, Community Development, Alderman Brown.
Well, Your Honor, tomorrow night CDC or JCAL meeting, there's a couple items on there, as the administrator mentioned, but nothing pressing. So if the rest of the committee doesn't feel as though there's any need for tomorrow night's meeting, I see no reason to push it, or no reason why we couldn't push it off. That's scheduled for 7:30 tomorrow night. Other than that, Wednesday night at 7:30, Plan Commission is scheduled to meet. There's a few items on their agenda. And next Monday at 5:30, Historic Preservation has got a meeting scheduled. Nothing on their agenda at this point, but the meeting scheduled. That's all I have.
Public Utilities, Alderman Clark.
Nothing on the agenda for tomorrow night, so I would concur with Dave if, we wouldn't need a committee meeting if that would be everybody's pleasure, but I have nothing else to report.
I guess based on the presentation we had from the audience, do we want to, at some future JCAL meeting, discuss at some further degree the whole Prairie State thing, or where do we want to go with that?
Oh, regarding, resolution to the Attorney General, if that,
Right.
I'd also like to talk about the video gambling. But we can't do that tomorrow night,
No, I
but,
know, we can't, I already announced that we couldn't.
all right,
I'm
I
just
mean,
saying
yeah,
that
I
at a
would,
future meeting, you would talk about it for a while.
I'll join you with that.
joining the mayor.
I mean, I think one of the things we should do on both of those is let the staff have a couple of weeks to look them over and see what, any comments they'd like to add.
Well, under others, I was going to ask to have the video gambling be brought back for review, so,
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd give them a couple of weeks, but I think,
Yeah, just.
but if everybody's fine, let's do it.
There'll be two worthwhile discussions to have.
I mean, it's a prime subject for a JCAL meeting, and it just, we'll obviously get it put together and then schedule it and give everybody the proper notice so it will be on the agendas for everybody to understand.
That's fine.
All right. City Services, Alderman Wolf?
Thank you, Your Honor. I think with the chief's concurrence over there, I don't think we have to worry about getting rid of the surplus property this week, so we could wait till the next JCAL to talk about that, so I have no problem with dropping that. The couple things I wanted to bring up tonight were brush pickup next week for the east side, starting on the 9th at 7 a.m., have everything out on the curb, and then the west side would be Monday, the 16th. That's all I had. Thank you.
Government Services, Alderman Sparks?
Thank you. Well, since we have nothing on our agenda, I concur with the other.
When is the personnel executive session scheduled? Don't we have an executive?
It didn't make it for tomorrow night, so I assume it's going to be in the next JCO.
Well,
I don't-
we didn't put it on the agenda for tomorrow night because all of you were asked to give us a review, and a number of you have not given us your comments yet, so I didn't want to put anything on until I had give everybody enough time to react and give us your feedback, so.
Or did it today?
For those in the audience, this is the annual review of the city administrator, and there's been a review form distributed to everybody on the council to give us their reaction. We haven't heard from everybody, so we can't really do it till we have all the data. So, that's the answer. Anything else, Alderman Sparks?
No, Your Honor, that's all.
We officially cancel tomorrow's JCAL meeting?
I guess that's the consensus I'm hearing. Unless somebody's going to stand up and scream and holler otherwise.
Does that require a motion?
I suppose it should.
I move that we cancel tomorrow night's JCAL meeting.
Moved by Alderman Brown, second by Alderman Clark to cancel tomorrow night's meeting. Any
Roll call
discussion?
needed, voice vote.
No, we'll do a roll call. Clerk, call the roll.
Brown? Aye. Clark? Atack?
Aye.
Stark?
Aye.
Transit? Aye. Wolf?
Aye.
Sparks?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Callahan?
No.
Bowman?
Somebody had to.
Sam?
Aye.
Basilian?
No way, I love meetings.
Saron?
Aye.
McFadden?
Aye.
Motion's approved, 12 yes, 2 no. Okay. Under other business, Alderman Wolf?
I have something I just wanted to bring up, that the Party in the Park that my daughter has helped work with for the past 4 years raised almost $8,000 to donate for suicide prevention, and also through Family Counseling Services in Aurora. Went really good, great weather, beautiful day, and saw a couple of you there. It went over really well. I finished again, so not as fast as before, but I did finish the 5K. The kids really have taken this on to try to make sure that this is something that's sustainable, that they can raise money every year to donate for that. And, you know, it's really good each and every year to see it gets through to at least one person. You know, you get some feedback from somebody that it hits home with them and they understand what this is about. And if it saves one kid every year, it's worth it. So I just want to thank everybody for their participation.
If I could just echo off of that, I think Alan knows this, but on the way home from it last Sunday, my children, Saturday, were talking about it, and my 5-year-old said, if I ever get that sad, I need to find a good friend. So thanks to Mary and everybody, Emily over there, it made an impact.
Alderman Stark, do you have something?
I do. It's actually made it to the agenda. It is a discussion about fireworks, Batavia fireworks. We have an event coming up on Thursday evening, June 12th, from 5:30 to 7:30. The Fireworks Committee will be hosting the second annual Keep It Sparkling event at K. Hollis Jewelers. And that is at 147 South Randall. It's a couple doors away from Jewel Osco on Randall Road. And all of the money that we'll raise that night will be used for the 4th of July Sky Concert. Activities that night will include silent auction. We have a bunch of baskets that have been donated by individuals, by businesses in town. We have raffle prizes, including a front row parking pass for the fireworks. Food and beverages will be donated from local stores, restaurants, and caterers. We have pizzas coming from Pal Joey's. We have food coming from Gaetano's. We'll have gelato from O Solo Mio, just to name a few. And that's all included in the ticket price. We have live music. We have a Batavia trivia contest. We have bling rings that light up, which are a great accessory for 4th of July night. We'll have a treasure hunt in the store while you're shopping. A percentage of everything sold that evening will be given back to the Fireworks Committee by Karen and Rob Hollis. Awards will be giving out for the best patriotic outfits worn by guests. There will be a patriotic parting favor that will be given to every guest. The cost is $20 entry fee if it's paid online via PayPal at bataviafireworks.org or in person at K. Hollis Jewelers. You can go there and buy a ticket at K. Hollis. By June 10th, it's $25 at the door on the evening of June 12th. And so come and help us celebrate Flag Day and raise funds for our fabulous 4th of July Sky Concert. Linda put a lot of F's in that on purpose, I'm positive, which annually hosts between 10,000 and 15,000 visitors at the Batavia High School grounds. The show is 100% funded by private citizens and businesses. No taxpayer dollars are ever used for the show, so please help us keep the fireworks sparkling on July 4th. If you would like to donate to the Sky Concert or volunteer to help with the June 12th event or any of the fireworks events, please visit our website at www.bataviafireworks.org. All support is appreciated. And the other night, we were talking about fireworks at a meeting, and there are about 6 of us, maybe 8, who put on the entire fireworks show, from planning the music to creating the events to raise the money to donating money to working the event the night of fireworks. I mean, there are so few of us who actually put this on. It's astounding that we put on a party for 10 to 15,000 people every year, and we always appreciate more help. We're kind of an odd group. We roll up our sleeves and get a lot done, but we would really appreciate anyone who would like to help. We meet now about once every 2 weeks because we're coming up to the 4th, and we really, if you can always talk to me, Marty Callahan. We're both on the Fireworks Committee. And we'd love to have you, as well as the mayor and the mayor's wife. So that's 4 that you see. So, but we would really love for you to come to this event. Keep It Sparkling is a lot of fun, and you don't have to be a woman to come just because it's at a jewelry store. You can come and buy baubles for your significant other too. So please donate the $20 and come. It's a good time. Thank you.
Anybody else on the council? Alderman Song.
I just wanted to remind everybody that the farmers market starts this Saturday at 8 a.m. on River Street until noon.
And I'm hearing that one of the features you're going to have there is you're going to allow musicians to come in and play for us? Is that
Well, we've always had extra spaces for community groups to come. So, alternating weeks there would be bands. Some weeks it would be the different churches in the area come down and hand out stuff.
I recently at a Eagle Scout ceremony encountered a young gal from Batavia, I think she's 7, that I would describe as almost a prodigy on the violin. And her mother tells me that she's planning to come down and perform at the farmer's market. So, I mean, I guess I've had several other people ask me about that, so I think that may be another thing that will be added to your repertoire over there is that
I think
this
that's
goes
probably
forward.
welcome.
Others from the city council?
I was just going to say, and then, along with Alderman Starks, the next meeting for the fireworks is June 17th at 5:30 here upstairs in the conference. If we can get more volunteers.
And don't forget to go online and buy 50/50 raffle tickets, too. That's another thing that we're doing this year, community 50/50 raffle, and the winner will be announced on the night of the fireworks.
As long as we're talking about the fireworks, I just have to share this. The last 10 days, I have been called by, and they shall remain nameless, but 2 other mayors in the Chicagoland region that called me up and said, is it actually true that Batavia puts on a fireworks program and doesn't ding the taxpayers for any of the money to fire the fireworks? And I said, yeah, that's kind of a civic badge of honor. It's been going on now since 1950, so we're in our 64th or 65th year, depending on what math plan you studied. And that Batavia has, at least all the costs of all the explosives and everything that you see, all the lights in the sky and everything, that's all totally donated by businesses and citizens and children having backyard benefits and whatever. So, this is a kind of almost a unique situation in the Chicagoland area that we've got, the citizens doing this and not asking the government, at least to this point in time, to do this. So I think that really says something very special about the spirit of Batavia and the commitment toward patriotism and the love of country and whatever. This year is going to be a little bit of a challenge because we're going to have to kind of reconfigure the firing grounds there a little bit because Engstrom Park is under reconstruction this summer by the Batavia Park District. So there's a large chunk of it that's going to be kind of cordoned off with a fence. And because of the construction activities going on, people will not be able to walk in. But if you're up there by Main Street where you drive by on Saturday morning and see all the kids playing the soccer, that's still, as I'm told, available to us, so that will be an area where people will be able to sit. But because of the loss of a lot of that Engstrom Park area and kind of some of the reconfiguration that's taken place at Batavia High School the last few years, we are having to rethink how we're going to stage all these people. And certainly one area that's going to get to be high use is going to be probably Millview Drive from Main Street down to Morton Street. We're going to have to put a lot of people on the hard surface there. So if people, I encourage you to bring your lawn chair or whatever, because it may be a little bit hard laying on that asphalt out there in the middle of Millview Drive to watch the fireworks. One of the phenomena that we have every year on this thing is that, it's like you do a great thing, hopefully, and people really are impressed and appreciative of what they do. So at the end of the show, sometimes I'll be standing there and people know who I am or whatever, and they'll come over and want to make a donation to me about, gee, I'm really pleased with this show. And I've been told by a number of people that, well, I was there and I had my mother and father and my aunt and uncle, and we were looking around, we couldn't find any barrels to dump money in. We would have given you a contribution if we could only have seen where to do it at. So this year, the Fireworks Committee is going to make a concerted effort to have some high-profile identity areas at the end of not before the show starts, but at the end of the show, where people are going to be able to say, okay, this is where I go drop my $5 or whatever I'm going to donate. So the fire department has agreed to let us use a couple of their smaller vehicles. They have pickup trucks and whatever have you, and we're going to place those kind of strategically at points where people are going to be walking past, and we'll hopefully have 1 or 2 fireworks committee members stand there with a bucket or a pail or something, and we're going to tell you to look for the emergency vehicles with the lights flashing, and that will be the spot that you will be encouraged to go and drop a donation in. And we did this at least one other time I'm aware of, and it was quite successful because you got people really thought, well, this was a great show. It was worth $5 or $10 for me to come and do this. So we're hoping that that will help to kind of sweeten the kitty for next year, so that when it comes time to start to raise this money again, because we have to go through this exercise every year, and this doesn't get any cheaper, as I'm sure everybody can appreciate. Number one, we have to insure this show. We have to have liability insurance for it, for people falling, or if some fireworks were to fall on somebody's roof, or whatever is going to could happen. So that has to be insured. And then the cost of the actual show has gone up because just the nature of the world we live in. And then the other things that we have to have, sound systems and entertainment in some instances, and things that we have miscellaneous costs. It does cost, at the end of the day, probably between $35,000 and $40,000 to put on the show. And so we need to raise, $35,000 a year to keep this going. And I just would ask Batavians to, if they don't want to give till you make sure we did it and it was okay, that's fine, but we're going to try to have it sitting there to kind of capture you as you go out the door, that this is what is being something that we're very, very pleased that you came. And this is by far, as the police department will tell you, this is the biggest traffic jam of the year in Batavia when this is over with. Nothing else we do throughout of course, maybe when we hug each other on sometime this September, maybe that'll challenge this, but this is the mother lode. This is the biggest event of the year as far as the number of people that we bring in, and we don't really know how many, if we say, well, it's 15,000, it could be 20,000, or there's thousands of people sitting in the surrounding neighborhoods, number one, watching this. And then the kind of the wild card that's emerged in the group now is the whole Randall Road parking lot configuration, starting south of Main Street and going all the way up north of Fabian Parkway. A lot of people tell me they, if they have small children or whatever, they go out there and just bring the popcorn themselves and sit in the car and watch it and whatever. So Randall Road parking lots have become another high area. And quite honestly, we don't have the warm bodies to go out there and knock on all the windows of all the cars and try to get donations out of all those folks. But many people do send in, then afterwards they'll PayPal us or send a donation in the mail and say that they did appreciate everything that we did do. So this is, Batavia does a couple of nice things every year. And as long as because they're sitting here, I was planning to do this anyway, but I wanted to publicly thank the VFW again this year for the Loyalty Day Parade, number one, and then secondly, also thank you for your support with the Memorial Day program that you again put on last week. Those are kind of the special moments in the life of a town every year that towns do, and I think it creates, as it's already been intimated here tonight, for especially the younger generations, they get a sense of what, service to your country and the military and patriotism and all the great attributes of an American citizenship are all about. And if we didn't do these things, if we didn't have a Loyalty Day Parade, and if we didn't have a 4th of July fireworks, and we didn't, have a Veterans Day Parade and Memorial Day celebration, that we really would lose something. I mean, there would be a lot of people that would soon forget it, or especially the younger generations would have no appreciation as to what it is that all this is all about. And you go up to the corner at Batavia Avenue, Wilson Street, and there's 46 names of Batavians who went off to serve in the country in defense of our liberties and didn't make it back. And I mean, that's a cherished situation that we should never forget. And so it's nice that we do these things throughout the year to remind everybody that this is what this life in this country and this town are all about. And that's why I know I'm just hitting on the staff to get the flag mountings back on the poles, because we got to make sure we keep that going. So we do a lot of stuff here, and it's only because we have the support of organizations like the VFW and the Ladies Auxiliary of the VFW and everything that you do to kind of work in partnership with us to kind of keep this whole momentum and this tradition and honor going forth. And those of us who have served in the military appreciate, I think, extra deeply the importance of why it is nice that this is done, and that the appreciation is shown and the honor is given to those who marched off to war and did or did not come home again. And Batavia certainly can wear a very strong badge of honor with all those who have stepped forward in the history of our town and served very honorably in the military in defense of the liberties. And, I can remember fondly as a young person all the times when the World War II veterans would come back and talk about the Normandy invasion or the war in Iwo Jima, and there's we had people from town that were actually at all those places and were physically there. And so it's a deep honor for us to have that history, and something that I really appreciate the partnership that we have with the VFW and carrying that forth. So thank you very much for that. Carl, you want to say something? Sure.
I might call this highlights of the Loyalty Day Parade that most people would miss, which I tried not to miss. And right after the Loyalty Day Parade, I wrote down a few things. I didn't bring them, they're at home, but I wrote them down again. But before I go into that, first of all, I have to thank the city and the Public Works, and especially the police, for everything they do for the Loyalty Day Parade. It wouldn't happen without the city. But the highlights are, I'll start with the Citizen of the Year. You know, he's an elderly man. He came down there, he was kind of quiet and moved a little slow. Put him in a nice, special, comfortable convertible, and he went up, and he was up in the parade, and by the time he got to the end of the parade, he was smiling from here to here, waving at the mayor. It just meant so much to him. So that's one of the highlights of the parade. Right behind him, maybe a few units, was the Military Vehicle Preservation Association of all the military vehicles. This year, we brought out some veterans who are blind, called the Heinz Blind, about 15 of them. We put them in the military vehicles, and same thing. They were just beaming. The escorts from our posts, from the Ladies Auxiliary who escorted them, said that just meant the world to them to be able to be in the parade, have all the kids wave at them, a big crowd, appreciate them for what they did for their country. The third thing is we had a guy come from VFW up in St. Charles and volunteered to take photographs for us, and he ended up riding in the float, and he got off that float, and his first comment to me was, "You have such a great city here." And he says, what really impressed me, he says, I expected the adults to stand up and, you know, respect the flag and all of that. And he says, the kids, he says, I was just amazed at your younger generation. All of them stood up and showed respect throughout the parade. He was very impressed. The fourth thing is the Marine Color Guard. Just so you know about our military today, if you have any doubts, I talked to them when they came. They came early to get the route right, make sure they did it right. And I was talking to them about Benghazi, and we're getting like 900 more Marines with the Department of Defense budget, and to protect our ambassadors and people overseas. And these young men said, Mr. Dinwiddie, that's what we do, sir. We protect our citizens abroad. We protect our citizens from terrorism here. I mean, these kids, you could, in their heart, you could see they were like stand-up military people, and that's the quality of our military today. So that's my comments about the Loyalty Day Parade.
Thank you.
Yep.
Could I just make an announcement?
Sure.
The 16th of June, we will be here at the City Council chambers, and we will be announcing the awards and giving out the awards for the Loyalty Day Parade for the prize winners. So, hope everybody watching will come and.
It's an annual event.
Pardon?
It's an annual event. We do it every year.
Annual event, and, since the mayor gets to give out his award, it's super special.
Alderman Brown, you want to make a
I do have a question for Bill. You mentioned that the prices came back in on the store hedge. Is that going to be on next week's JCAL meeting then? Okay, because that'll take city council action, so if we're not on next week's JCAL meeting, it will get pushed, so, right? It takes city council action? If not, then I'd say maybe just, send a memo out and poll everybody and say, go for it. but let's keep it moving, is my point.
All right, well, I already did my mayor's report before they ever got to it on the agenda here, when I kind of glammed on to everybody else's comments, so we're done with that. Anybody else have anything final?
I want to thank the people in the audience who are here tonight. This is probably the biggest attendance we've had for an entire meeting in the last year or so. So thank you.
All right, I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
Move we adjourn.
Second. Moved by Alderman Brown, second by Alderman O'Brien for adjournment. Clerk, take a voice vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
See the email I sent you?
Yes, thank you.
So cheap.
Responded.
I got it, but it was on clearance, and I was like, oh, the fact that
Yeah.
it's a bird, text Jonathan and say.